if you had to explain to someone how slavery has shaped America since then, what would be the most important point?
Um, I would say that it's created a level of fear. Um, so if you look at one of the reasons why, England decided to switch away from slavery and to a slavery system is because at that time there were more and more revolutions and rebellions that were happening, right? So they understood that it's just not going to be advantageous for us. And there's other reasons. There's abolitionists. There's a change in the economics, or the way that labor, or the economic system and on labor. But it, slavery is always maintained, even though there is quite extensive fear that there's going to be a rebellion. And because we never shift away, because we compromise safety and security, for money and for the slavery system, we still continue to have these fears of each other, right? And particularly whites and blacks. Like the fear is that if I do not control blacks, they're going to turn around and murder me. They're going to make me pay for it. And I think that white Americans in 2020 are still holding on to that fear of like, if I don't, yeah, maybe I want equal rights, or maybe I believe in fairness, but they're out of control, or they are going to inflict some harm and some danger upon me. And so it's like an attitude of I got to get them before they get me. I mean, in some way, shape, or form, I think that white Americans still hold that fear about Black Americans, particularly Black men.
And what about the long-term economic impacts? Do we still see the traces of that today?
Well, and so we do the fact that I can work at a plantation that was built in the 1790s, and I know that might not be old for in terms of England and how old your buildings and structures are, but the fact is that it's 2020 and this house was built in 1790, and that is still a viable business, right? And the people that built the same structure, that maintain these same sugarcane farms, have never gotten paid a penny for any of the work that they've done. Well, I shouldn't say a penny. They have not gotten paid anything substantial to change the conditions, in their living situations. So there is massive, massive, massive amounts of money that was generated. It is the basis of the United States foundation, of our economic system, of banking, of credit practices, of financial instruments that are being used. But yet, no, the um, the generational wealth that's been passed along through white generations, Black Americans had no access to that, right? And so that's been harmful that we did not have the capital. But it's this system of racism that was extended, throughout Reconstruction, throughout um, when there were opportunities that were specifically given to white Americans in order to advance their position in society and create a middle class and create wealth, Blacks were left out of that equation. So we did not have access to the same types of mortgages, um, capital loans. Um, we had separate but segregation, and so resources for Blacks were deliberately diverted away from diverted away from Black communities. And so now we have like this situation where the playing field is so unequal that there's extensive, again, gaps in wealth, gaps in education, to where there is going to be, the talk about reparations is a real discussion.
So, just to clarify, reparations is the payment that would be made in some way to account for the debt of slavery that is owed.
Right, right. The debt of slavery that is owed, and then also the debt from the impact of the legacies of a racist and slavery system as well. But yes, so debt, and however whatever that debt would look like, I think that's the big conversation. So yeah, but in order, if we really are looking at creating equality, and if there is real acceptance of the fact that the system is wrong and there's a debt owed, then there needs to be some form of reparations that's examined.